Yes, we have Brother Kazim Zahid joining us in a little bit. We'll have a Salam Marcia first, and then we'll have, after your speech, the Noha, inshallah. Okay, Bismillah, guys. Should be broadcast.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك وأتوجه إليك بنبيك نبي الرحمة محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. يا أبا القاسم يا رسول الله، يا إمام الرحمة، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا أمير المؤمنين، يا علي بن أبي طالب، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا فاطمة الزهراء يا بنت محمد، يا قرة عين الرسول، يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله، اشفعي لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها المجتبى يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا عبد الله يا حسين بن علي، أيها الشهيد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن الحسين، يا زين العابدين يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي، أيها الباكر يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا عبد الله يا جعفر بن محمد، أيها الصادق يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا موسى بن جعفر، أيها القادم يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن موسى، أيها الرضا يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا جعفر يا محمد بن علي، أيها التقي الجواد يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، قدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا الحسن يا علي بن محمد، أيها الهادي النقي يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا أبا محمد يا حسن بن علي، أيها الزكي العسكري يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله، قدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله، اشفع لنا عند الله. يا وسي الحسن والخلف الحجة، أيها القائم المنتظر المهدي يا ابن رسول الله، يا حجة الله على خلقه، يا سيدنا ومولانا، إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله قدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا عند الله حاجات. يا سادتي وموالي إني توجهت بكم أئمتي وعدتي ليوم فقري وحاجتي إلى الله وتوسلت بكم إلى الله واستشفعت بكم إلى الله فاشفعوا لي عند الله واستوقظوني من ذنوبي عند الله فإنكم وسيلتي إلى الله وبحبكم وبقربكم أرجو نجاة من الله فكونوا عند الله رجائي يا سادتي يا أولياء الله صلى الله عليهم أجمعين ولعن الله أعداء الله ظالميهم من الأولين والآخرين آمين يا رب العالمين. صلوات.
اللہم صلی علی محمد وآل محمد. جزاک اللہ بیٹے، بہت اچھے، بہت خوب. السلام علیکم قاسم. Are you on?
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Okay, wait. You wanna start with salam, please? Bismillah.
Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، کیسے دروازہ ہٹاؤں، کیسے محسن کو بچاؤں، سانس سینے میں رکی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی کھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہاتھ میں جس کے میرا ہاتھ دیا تھا تم نے، کہہ کے من کن تو جسے مولا کہا تھا تم نے، میں نے ہر موڑ پہ بابا ساتھ اس کا ہے نبھایا، کیا میرا جرم یہی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، تیری امت نے بنا دی ہے یہ حالت بابا کہ کوئی پسلی بھی نہیں میری سلامت بابا، سانس لیتی ہوں میں جس دم گھٹنے لگتا ہے میرا دم، صرف مرنے کی کمی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے۔ کبھی دربار میں پیشی کو بلاتے ہیں ہمیں، کبھی دروازے پہ آ کے ستاتے ہیں ہمیں، میرے یہ پھول سے بچے پوچھتے ہیں ہی مجھ سے، کیا خطا ہم سے ہوئی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے۔ شرم آتی ہے بھلا تم کو بتاؤں کیسے، یہ تماچوں کے نشان تم کو دکھاؤں کیسے، تم نہ پہچان سکو گے، دیکھ کر مجھ سے کہو گے کیا میری زہرا یہی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے۔ جب سے حسنین کے بابا سے سنا ہے یہ کلام، مجھ کو اب کوئی مدینے میں نہیں کرتا سلام، تب سے یہ حال ہے میرا اپنے غم بھول کے بابا، بس مجھے فکر علی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے۔ یہ اذیت یہ خاموشی نہیں دیکھی جاتی، مجھ سے تنہائی علی کی نہیں دیکھی جاتی، تیرا پیغام سنانے حق ولایت کا بتانے زہرا گھر گھر میں گئی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے۔ قبر زہرا سے تکلم یہ صدا آتی ہے، کتنی صدیوں سے میرے قبر پر ویرانی ہے، پھول تربت پہ چڑھانے ایک دیا لا کے جلانے، کیا مدینے میں کوئی ہے، تیری زہرا پہ مصیبت کی گھڑی ہے، ہائے بابا تیری زہرا पे मुसीबत की घड़ी है। बर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात।
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah Kazim. Jazakallah. Now I'd like to invite Dr. Farid to the member to address Jafiak. Bismillah, Dr. Farid.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaykum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen. Abu al-Qasim Mustafa Muhammad wa ala alihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Tonight, inshallah, we will remember the sister of our 8th Imam, the daughter of our 7th Imam, the aunt of the 9th Imam, Fatima al-Ma'sumah, and her Shahada. And before we do that, I ask our brothers and sisters not to forget to ask Shafa Hajil for our dear brother, Brother Razi, inshallah. Allah bless him with health and inshallah bring him back to his family, Ya Rab. Sayyidah Masuma, her name is Fatima. Her title is Masuma. And the title is given to him by a Ma'soom. So a Ma'soom has given the title to this lady, Ma'soomah. So Ma'soom, who is himself infallible, is giving the title to this lady as infallible. We cannot take these things simply, because when a Ma'soom talks, Allah is talking, Lisanullah is talking. And when Lisanullah is giving a title, it's not just because he likes that title, he enjoys that title, it sounds good. It has a specific function and meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to point it out, but he chooses a Ma'soom which speaks on behalf of Allah to grant this title. Like we talked about Sayyidah Sakina. That title comes from Ma'soom Imam al-Hussein. And this title for Sayyidah Fatima comes to her from her father, Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. Imam Musa ibn Ja'far gives that title to his daughter, Ma'soom. And that title is verbalized in the holy Mubarak lips of Imam al-Rida and Imam al-Jawad and Imam Sahib al-Zaman. Amir al-Mu'mineen had already told us that because of one of his daughter that is buried in a land called Qum, that land becomes the source of knowledge of the school of Ahl al-Bayt. We have a hadith from Amir al-Mu'mineen about that. We have a hadith from Imam Zain al-Abidin. We have a hadith from Imam al-Sadiq. We have a hadith from Imam al-Qadim. We have a hadith from Imam al-Rida about the sha'n, the position of Fatima Ma'soom. She was only 6-7 years old when a group of her father's follower came to visit him, and he was on a trip to do ziyarah from Medina to Mecca. So they missed seeing their Imam. They came to the house of Imam. The servant of Imam opened the door and received them, welcomed them, and told them that Imam is not here. Imam has gone to Mecca. They are welcome to stay and wait for him or come back later when he returns. They say that we had brought with us questions. We're going to keep them with you and you pass it on to the Imam. And on our way back from Mecca, when we stop in Medina, we will take the answers with us. And the servant brings the questions inside the house, and 6 years old baby Fatima Masuma says, "What did you receive from these visitors?" "They brought some questions," she said to her. "May I see them?" "Yes." So paper after paper, questions after questions. She looked at them, she glanced them, she picks up the pen, and she starts writing. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma ba'd. Look at the style. The style is exactly the style of Nahjul Balagha, her great-grandfather Amir al-Mu'min. She starts giving answers to each question, and sometimes she even corrects the question if the question was asked in the wrong way. And then she ended all these questions, which were about 40 or more questions, and returned them to the servant and said, "Go catch them and tell them that these are your answers." She comes and reaches out to those visitors and give them back these answers. And they are all, in surprise. What happened? Did Imam come back? She says, "No, Imam did not come back. His daughter wrote down these answers." They accept, but in their heart, they are not sure. They accept, of course, but in their heart, they're not sure. Did we get the right answer? How old is she? She's 6, 7 years old. Maybe yes, maybe no. It's okay, we'll take these answers with us, and when we come back, we'll stop again at Imam's house and clarify them. That's what their intention was. As they're getting on the road to go to Mecca, in some stations, Imam is coming back from Mecca, and they meet. They come and do salam and ziyarah to the present, the time Imam Musa ibn Jafar. And Imam Musa ibn Jafar says, "Where are you coming from?" "We're coming from Medina. And it so happened we stopped by your home. We had these questions and we gave it to your servant to keep. So when you come, you answer them. But one of the lady of your haram had answered." Imam says, "May I see?" And they present Imam with the handwritten notes, answers from Fatima Masum. And then as Imam looks, not only his lips opens for a smile, but also tears come down from his eyes. And he says, "May her father be sacrificed to her. Allah has blessed Al Muhammad," he says, "with this Ma'dan al-Rasala." He says, "May me, her father, be sacrificed for her." Again, you need to pause. Imam Musa ibn Jafar, who himself is not only a Masum, not only at that time Hujjatullah in the universe, not only that he himself is Babul Hikmah and Babul Ilm of the time, not only that he represents Allah in every ways, not only he carries the burden of the knowledge of Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Fatima al-Zahra, and Imam al-Hasan al-Hussein, and all his fathers. He is also Babul Hawa'ij. And when he says, "May this life, this rich life, that has all those elements in it I just enumerated for you," when he says, "May my life be sacrificed," cannot take that lightly. Then you understand what is Sha'an of Fatima. Ma'asum. That's not easy to grasp. This family of Ahl al-Bayt, they manifest all the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah has created Adam and Bani Adam. Quran says, min nafs al-wahida, from one nafs. And then in that form, Allah has blown, Quran says, from His own ruh into this creature, which you and I, we call insan, and we are part of that. And when the first one was created, Allah asked all the malaika to do sajda to this one. Why? Because this one possesses the manifestations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in a way that reflects on the 14 infallibles. And 14 infallibles, they are the mirror that reflect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attributes to the universe. And if that reflection and that manifestation needs a landing ground, that landing ground is the heart of mu'mineen. And may Allah curse those people who took the proper positions of Ahl al-Bayt and confiscated them out of their own whim and ego. From the time that they took away the right of Amir al-Mu'mineen, the Islam that presents itself from that chain is the one that you and I are now being part of, this manufactured religion called Islam by these guys that unfortunately associates Islam with brutality and murderous act and all those things that everyone, every human hates. And they did that on purpose. That was that line. But this family of Ahl al-Bayt preserved and pursued the true message of Islam. One after another is one Rahim after another Rahim. One Kareem after another Kareem. One Hadi after another Hadi. You can never find in any records of any books that says that any member of this Ahl al-Bayt hurted anyone. You cannot find even the sharpest enemies. They have ignored to list their faza'il, but nobody has mentioned that this Imam or that Imam has done these things to these people unfairly. Can never find anybody who says that I was hurt by a member of Ahl al-Bayt. Why? Because they are Rahmat al-Jariyah. They are the current flow of Rahmah, which is another attribute of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it will be counter-current movement that any member of Ahl al-Bayt not to be Kareem, not to be Rahim, not to have Rahmah for anybody. Fatima Ma'suma gained the title of Kareemah. All Ahl al-Bayt are Kareem, but Fatima Ma'suma became Kareemah to Ahl al-Bayt. Why? because after Imam Rida left and before Imam Rida leave Medina, for all the years that she lived with Imam Rida and all the years that Imam Rida left for a couple of years before she tried to join her, all that time, every mu'min, every Muslim, every follower who wanted to tap into the knowledge of Imam Rida, they knocked on the door of Karimatu Ahl al-Bayt. Historians have recorded, Christian historians, strangers that they traveled through Medina, they have recorded that there is a house that no matter what kind of stranger you are, in that house, if you knock, you will not return on empty stomach. You will not return without any clothing. You will not return without any assistance. That door has always been open. And when they look and they call, the name of that house is the house of Fatima Masum. She has given us a role model of how to live with the presence of your Imam or in the absence of your present Imam. The dignity, integrity, they go with generosity. They go with caring. The hospital that Imam Jafar as-Sadiq alayhi salam established was run and administered by Fatima Masuma in the absence of Imam Rida and in the presence of Imam Rida. She trained many ladies so that they can teach others how to read and write, how to attend wounds, how to cure diseases, how to organize to assist the orphanage and the widows of the town. If you want to know who established the welfare system in Islam, you have to go and knock on the door of Fatima Masum. When she left and after the news of her Shahada came back to Medina, you know the first group that they came and mourned who they are? They were the orphans and the widows of Medina. They said, now who do we go to? Now that they have killed her, now that they have taken her away from us. Her knowledge was collected in books, but burned by Mutawakkil. One of the series of books that he put in the fire was the books that the students of Fatima Masum has written, or has given the speech and the students have written. There is one small hadith that survived. It's about Qadir Khum. And she points to what devastation has been bestowed upon humanity because people of Qadir Khum, they did not keep their word and their promise. And she lays it out. You forgot Qadir Khum, then from now until the Zuhur of Sahib al-Zaman, you will suffer. She has laid it out. The things that she has predicted, and before her, her grandfather Imam Sadiq had predicted, has happened. Many of those events. Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, when he spoke of Fatima Masuma, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far was not even married at that time to have a daughter called Fatima. And when he spoke of her, he said about her, But before he mentions her name, he establishes the golden chain that connects her to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, referring to her, إِنَّ لِلَّهِ حَرَمًا وَهُوَ مَكَّةٌ. Allah has a haram, and it's called Mecca. وَلِرَسُولُ اللَّهِ حَرَمًا وَهُوَ الْمَدِينَةِ. And Rasulullah has a haram, has a shrine, and it's in Medina. وَلِأَمِيرَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ حَرَمًا وَهُوَ الْكُوفَةِ. And Amir al-Mu'mineen has a haram in Kufa. وَلَنَا حَرَمًا. And we, who's we? أولنا محمد، أوسطنا محمد، آخرنا محمد، كلنا محمد. ولنا, and for us, for all of us. He first says, these individuals, including Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have haram. But for all of us, who's talking? Imam Sadiq, Sadiq Ahl al-Bayt. He is saying that وَلَنَا حَرَمًا. Lana here means that for all of us. Where is that haram? وَهُوَ قُمْ. And that haram is in Qum. ستدفن فيه امرأة من ولدي تسمي فاطمة. In that land, a lady from my children will be buried. It's interesting. He does not say she will live there. Subhanallah, how precise Kalam Ma'soom is. Because Fatima Ma'sooma did not have a chance to live in Qom. She only had a chance to mourn the death of her brother and then die. So she did not live in that land. She came for a few days and she died after she arrived. That's why you see the precision that is in Quran, the same precision is in the words of Ma'soom. Satudfun, my daughter will be buried in this land. And what is the so blessing from this? Man zaraha wajabat lahul jannah. Subhanallah. It is mind-blowing. Whoever visits her, Jannah becomes wajib for her. Wajibat lahul jannah. This we cannot find on any other Ma'soom. Ayatollah Marashi, Sayyid Shahabuddin Marashi, he made a lot of nazar. He was one of those Zahid Mu'mineen and Maraja. His knowledge was above and beyond the materialistic world. He is the one that when he noticed that strangers and foreigners are buying the books of Ahl al-Bayt and destroying them, and he did not have any money to buy these books, he started doing istijari fasting for people who cannot fast and have died, and their offsprings, their children, are hiring people to fast those numbers of days that the parents were not able to fast. It's called istijari. And there are some people who get some money to make fasting for those who have died and they did not have the health to fast themselves. So he would do that day after day, month after month, just to have enough money so he can buy the books of Ahlul Bayt, knowledge that are being destroyed, and save them. And what a library he made. One of the treasure of Shia knowledge lays in the library of Ayatollah Marashi. He did 40 nights every year for 40 years of a ritual for one nether, and that was that I do this, that either in Alam Mukashafa or in Alam al-Ru'ya, either in my dream or in revelation to my heart, inspiration to my heart, I can give given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the address location of the grave of Fatima al-Zahra. And after he completed his nazar, he saw in his ru'ya that he's been told, instead of looking for the grave of Fatima al-Zahra, go to the grave of Fatima Ma'asuma in Qom. If you visit her, it is exactly as if you visit Fatima al-Zahra's grave. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala. This Fatima Ma'asuma, that her grave has the same level or has the same effect for the Zawar, for the Za'ir, as if the visitor is visiting the grave of Fatima al-Zahra. And the relationship between Fatima Ma'asuma and her brother Imam al-Rida is very similar, almost mirror image of the relationship of Sayyidah Zainab and Imam al-Hussein. Fatima Ma'asuma cannot tolerate a separation from her brother, especially the way her brother left Medina. He asked Bani Hashim and the family of Ahlul Bayt get together. Then he asked for the followers to come. Then he asked for the reciters and the poets that can recite poetry about Masa'ib Ahlul Bayt to come. And he told them that I want to do Majlis al-Azab. And they said, Majlis al-Azab for which Imam? He said, for the one who will be buried in Khurasan tombs, and for her sister who would be buried in Qom. The reciter said, I don't know any Ma'asum that fits that description. And Imam says, that Ma'asum is me and my sister. Then everybody broke in tears. When the reciter started talking about the Masa'ib of Imam al-Rida, somebody from inside the house came out and asked the reciter, please stop reciting Masa'ib Imam al-Rida. Why? He said, because his sister Fatima Ma'asuma passed out of crying. So Imam Rida left, enforced by force, leave Medina. Leaving Medina for Imam Rida is not easy. Why? Because Medina is his town. Medina is the town of Rasulullah, his grandfather. Every street of Medina has the fragrance of one of the Masums. They have their own neighborhood called neighborhood of Bani Hashim. The burned down house of Fatima al-Zahra is still there. If you could listen, the streets would speak to you about all the oppression that they did to Ahlul Bayt. Imam Rida did not want to leave Medina. He was forced to leave. And Fatima Ma'asuma had to witness that. And her Imam and her brother told her, it's not time for you to come with me, you're going to stay here. Because at that time, Imam Jawad is very young. So Fatima Masuma took on the responsibility just the same way Zainab took on the responsibility after Shahadat of Imam al-Hussein. Before Imam Sajjad publicly takes on the responsibility. Covertly, Imam is Imam. But overtly, Zainab was the one. Just like the same thing that happened to our 12 Imam. His aunt Hakima and his grandmother Sosan, they were giving the followers of Imam Mahdi Ajallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, and he was 5 years old, they were giving answers to the questions of the followers. So your school of thought, Ahlul Bayt, has always benefited from the ladies of Ahlul Bayt. There is a book, Fatimiyat, which is the book of ahadith and narrations that started from Fatima al-Zahra to Fatima Masum. Every Fatima, every daughter of Ahlul Bayt, whose name is Fatima, has a hadith in this book. We are the religion that value knowledge regardless of which gender it comes from, as long as it comes from Ahlul Bayt's family. We do not follow what happened in Saqifa, brutalizing women, taking advantages of women. We follow women because when they have the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt, same way we follow the men who have the knowledge of Ahlul Bayt. If Fatima Masuma was alive today, all the Maraja, they will go sit there and learn from her. And they still do. That's why you see grand Ayatollah like Sheikh Bahjat did not miss one day of his life when he lived in Qom. Every day, walk to the Haram, make ziyarah and come back. And when people ask, said, from her, I get knowledge that nobody can give me. So when Fatima Masuma moved from Medina to see her beloved brother, she received a letter. She received a letter from Imam Rida inviting her to come. And she came. And when she came, from her family, from the children of Imam, 23 members accompanied her, 18 men and a few ladies. They came. And Ma'mun La'natullah alayh, his spies, they told him that Fatima Masuma is coming with her family and her followers. Some numbers up to 50, 60 people. So she takes charge. She's the leader of Bani Hashim in Medina. She entrusts Imam Jawad to his mother and to protect him, even though he wants to come with her to see his father. Fatima Masuma says, no, your place is here. You are the next in line of Vilayah. there is no return for this trip, as there was no return for my brother, as it was foretold by our father and grandfather. So Fatima Masuma takes on the journey with about 50 people, 23 members of her family, and the rest, her servants and her followers. They come, they pass through many lands. They arrive in what is today Kuwait. They go to Iraq, what is today Iraq. They cross and they go to what is today Iran. And in a city near the capital city of today capital is Tehran, but a city near that is called Sava. So in Asava, they encounter the army of Ma'mun. Yeah, people, they don't talk about these events. Ma'mun come with full army, thousands. He is terrified of reunification of Fatima Masuma and Imam Rida. That should tell you the position of Fatima Masuma. When you go and say salam to Fatima Masuma, when you have a chance to go to the ziyarah to Fatima Masuma, you will enter and recite a ziyarah unlike any other ziyarah. Some similarity, some commonality with other ziyarah, and some very unique to her. You first have to say salam to Anbiya al-Ulul Azm. Then when you ask the Anbiya their permission, then you say salam to all 14 infallibles. And once you say salam to all the 14 infallibles, you have to say a specific salam, address a specific way your current Imam, Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, in a specific way that is only in her haram, in her shrine, you address. Not that these words, they cannot be said other place, but you see it for the first time. A Za'ir has to verbalize, because of her, and you are in her presence, there's a special way to address Imam Mahdi. How is that? After you say salam to all the Anbiya ulul Azm, after you said salam to every member of 14 infallibles, when you come and arrive to say salam to Imam Mahdi, you have to say Assalamu alayka ya wasi Allah. Allahumma salli ala nurika. See, we always say Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa al Muhammad, but this is the tafsir of that salawat. Allahumma salli ala nurika. You have to say that because of Ma'suma, I realize that I need to say salawat to Imam Mahdi, but I need to address him as your nur, Ya Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Barakat qabr Fatima Ma'suma. Allahumma salli ala nurika wa sirajika. Not only your nur, but also your chandelier, your lights. Quran says that Rasulullah is Siraj al-Munir, Nurani Siraj. Siraj al-Munir is Rasulullah. So here, with the barakah of the grave of Fatima Masuma, a Za'ir, a visitor, connects how everything that the first Muhammad was still exists today in the last Muhammad. If the first Muhammad was Sirajan Munira, because you are a Zahir of Ma'suma, you are now have the knowledge to recognize that everything that the first Muhammad had, you can connect it to the last Muhammad. You address him اللهم صل على نورك وسراجك وولي وليك ووسي وسيك وحجتك على خلقك. Then your mind and body is tahir enough. Then your mouth is tahir enough. After you acknowledge who is your current Imam, then you are allowed to say, Assalamu alayki ya bint Rasulullah. Assalamu alayki ya bint Fatimata wa Khadijat. Assalamu alayki ya bint Amir al-Mu'mineen. Assalamu alayki ya bint al-Hasan wal-Husayn. Assalamu alayki ya bint Wali Allah. Assalamu alayki ya ukht Wali Allah. Assalamu alayki ya ammat Wali Allah. Salam to you, Ya Fatima al-Zahra, Ya Fatima Masuma, who are the daughter of Waliullah, and you are the sister of Waliullah, and you are the aunt of Waliullah. Then, and this ziyarah has come to us from Imam al-Rida, and this ziyarah has two lines that I would like to share with you, and then we move on to the Masaib of Fatima Masuma. Why we love her, why we go to her shrine, why? It is explained in this line. أتغرب إلى الله. I want to get close to Allah. بحبكم. Because I love you and love your family, then that becomes a vessel for me, a conduit for me to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What a beautiful line. أتقرب إلى الله بحبكم وبراءة من أعدائكم. Don't forget to stay away and send la'na to the enemies of Ahl al-Bayt. وتسليم إلى الله راضيا. And I will submit myself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How? By recognizing you and who you are. And then the most surprising phrase of the ziyarah of Fatima Masuma comes when Imam Masum says, Ya Fatima, Ya Fatima, اشفعي لي في جنة فإن لك عند الله شأنا من الشأن. Ya Fatima. This is Masum telling Masuma, Ya Fatima, you do shafa'ah for me in Jannah, in heaven, because you have a position in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is unique to you, subhanallah. Lisan, the power of language ceases to exist. The power of thinking logically ceases to exist. The only way to understand this message is to immerse yourself in the love of Ahl al-Bayt. There's no other way to understand this message. This person is coming to visit her brother. Does Ma'mun tolerate that? Terrified. Why? Because Ma'mun ya'rifu haqqaha. Ma'mun knows who she is. Ma'mun knows if she comes, the knowledge of Imam Rida and the knowledge of Fatima Masuma. And Fatima Masuma, Imam Rida has turned masses. And Fatima Masuma will start educating all the women, and the women will educate their children. And Ma'mun cannot tolerate that. So he sends his army just the way Yazid sent his army overwhelmingly by numbers. 72, 30,000. 50, some Rawaya says 12,000 of Ma'mun's soldiers. They meet them, brutally slaughtered them. if 18 members of Hussein's family were beheaded in front of Zainab, 17 members of Imam Rida's family, men, they were beheaded just the way they did it in Karbala, in front of Fatima Masum. Then, when they served them food, they poisoned all of them. And then they left. And then they left. The news came to Qom that this is happening. Qom and Saba are very close to each other, not too far from one another. So the people from Qom, under the leadership of Ibn Khazraj, who was the follower and Sahaba of Imam al-Rida, he mobilized the entire town. And the town was already got the news about Shahadat of Imam al-Rida. So they had black banners mourning for the Shahadat of Imam al-Rida. Khadraj said, maybe his sister still doesn't know. Take down all those blacks. We are going to bring her to our town and take care of her. They did not know that she was already poisoned. So they came. They introduced themselves to Fatima. And when she asked them, where are you taking me to? Where you are inviting me to? As soon as they said, we are coming from Qom, we want to take you to the Qom, Fatima Masuma smiled. Sadaqa Allah wa sadaqa Rasulullah wa sadaqa Abi wa Jaddi. Allah said the truth statement. Rasulullah said the truth statement. And my grandfather, Imam Sadiq, said the truth statement. And my father. She knows that she belongs to Qom. That what happens in Qom, she knows that. She smiled. Sadaqa Allah wa Rasuluh. Wa Jaddi wa Abi. Let's go. But what an entourage. They made 2 columns. First, they buried the men of Ahl al-Bayt. One of the brother of Imam Rida was wounded and lived in hiding until they found him and killed him again. And he is buried in a town called Shiraz. Ahmad ibn Musa ibn Jafar, the brother of Imam Rida, a beautiful, huge shrine in there for him. So the men, they were all killed. And the women, few of them that they survived, they were poisoned. So Ibn Khazraj came and took Fatima Masuma with such a beautiful entourage, making 2 columns of camels and horses on left hand side, right side of Fatima Masuma. And he walked on his feet, grabbing the harness of the ride of Fatima Masuma as a respect. Subhanallah. And they entered Qom. He already had sent people to make sure that people come outside of the Qom, receive Fatima Masuma, greet her. Some people came, brought their own animals to sacrifice for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the feet of Fatima Masuma is touching their town. A festivity, but at the same time, they were mourning for Imam Rida and they were hiding it from Fatima Masuma. They came and he gave his own house, which was the most beautiful house in the town, to Fatima Masuma. And a few days, she heard that people are mourning for Imam Rida. And she asked, which Rida are you talking? They said who Imam Rida is. And she started crying. Oh, my brother, I was unable to visit you. She mourns for a few days. in Baytul Ahzan, and then she died. And when she died, people, they look at each other. Who dares to bury her? They made a beautiful gathering for her funeral. They consulted each other and they said, one, there is an old person who is known for zuhd and taqwa. We will ask him to come and go inside the grave and receive Fatima al-Zahra Fatima al-Masuma when we bury her. As they are doing this, two Nurani riders appear from the horizon. And as they walk, as they ride, they notice that they cannot figure who they are because they are covering their faces. And these two Nurani riders, they come. They stand next to the body of Fatima Masuma and they pray Salat Janazah. And both of them, with such a waqar and elegance, they perform the ghusl and kafan. Nobody can see. Curtains of nur has separated this huge audience where they are doing the rituals of kafan and dafan. And then they lower the body inside, and one of those masked men look at the hand of Fatima Masum, and in her hand there is a letter, and he opens that letter, grabbing it out of her hand, and that is the letter that he himself, Imam al-Rida, sent to Fatima Masum, inviting her to come. What a scene! She is buried with most respect and beautiful ceremony. But I want to tell Fatima Masum, you are the sister of Imam al-Rida, but alhamdulillah, you died among your followers. Your followers were happy to serve you. They were out there to greet you when 17 of your young men were slaughtered in front of you. But Ya Fatima Masum, what can be said about your great aunt Zainab? She was also received by the people of Sham and Kufa. But huge difference between your reception and her reception. These people, they went on the roofs and they throw flowers at your feet. And those Mal'unin, they went on the roof and they throw rocks and fireball on the heads that has no hijab of Zainab. Ya Fatima Masum, your death were buried with respect and they were mourned, and you were allowed to mourn for your brother. But Zainab was not allowed to mourn for her brother. Zainab was not allowed to mourn for her Abbas, for her Ali Akbar, for her Ali Asghar, for her Qasim, for her own and Muhammad. Ya Fatima Masuma, بحق أخيك إمام الرضا, and بحق your aunt Zainab, and بحق of your mother Fatima al-Zahra, make us more knowledgeable about you and your family. Ya Fatima Masuma, we live among the time that we cannot meet and mourn for you and your family and show our happiness for your family because of this pandemic. If it is maslaha, Ya Fatima Masuma, remove and uplift this pandemic so we can go back and pay our due respect to you and your family. Ya Fatima Masuma, grant all of us, insha'Allah, visit your shrine that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said through Lisanullah, wajibat Jannah. That Jannah is wajib for those who visit you, Ya Fatima Masuma. Please accept this little majalis from us as just a token of appreciation for what you and your family did for us. Ya Fatima Masuma, make us live and die and resurrect with hope of Zahra and all her children, including you. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.
That's right. Jazakallah. Okay, Sadayon. Bismillah.
زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، 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 سجاد کو ضعیف صدائیں یہ کر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جکڑ کر لیے پھرو، لاشوں کو رسیوں میں جکڑ کر لیے پھرو، سیدانیاں تو گھر سے نکلتے ہی مر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، جاتی تھیں جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر، جاتی تھیں جو کبھی کبھی زہرا کی قبر پر، جانے خدا ہجوم سے کیسے گزر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھیں جب چلیں، ظلم و ستم کی تیز ہوائیں تھیں جب چلی، سب گلشن بطول کی کلیاں بکھر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، گودوں سے راہ شام میں گر گر کے مر گئے، گودوں سے راہ شام میں گر گر کے مر گئے، بچوں کے لاش دیکھ کے مائیں بھی مر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، رملہ یہ پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں، رملہ یہ پوچھتی تھی سکینہ سے قید میں، زخمی ہے کان بالیاں بی بی کدھر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، بازار لے کے جاؤ نا بے پردہ ظالموں، بازار لے کے جاؤ نا بے پردہ ظالموں، مر جائیں گی حسین کی بہنیں اگر گئیں، زہرا کی بیٹیوں کی ردائیں اتر گئیں، ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गई। सरवर तो क्या लिखेगा नबी ज़ादियों के गम, सरवर तो क्या लिखेगा नबी ज़ादियों के गम। समझो के शाम जाने से पहले ही मर गई। ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गईं। 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 सजाद को ज़ईफ सदाएं ये कर गईं। ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गईं। ज़हरा की बेटियों की रिदाएं उतर गईं। या हुसैन, या
Yeah,
हुसैन।
and mashallah, mashallah. Brother Hassan Ziyarat.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين يا حاكم يوم الدين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا أم المؤمنين يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا محمد يا حسن المجتبى، السلام عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي أبو الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين وسيدة زينب وأم كلثوم وسكينة. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن الحسين الزين العابدين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي الباقر. السلام عليك يا مولاي جعفر بن محمد الصادق. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا باب الحوائج يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم. السلام عليك يا مولاي غريب الغرباء يا علي بن موسى الرضا. زارت فاطمة معصومائكم. السلام على آدم صفوة الله، السلام على نوح النبي الله، السلام على إبراهيم خليل الله، السلام على موسى كليم الله، السلام على عيسى روح الله، السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا خير خلق الله، السلام عليك يا صفي الله، السلام عليك يا محمد بن عبد الله خاتم النبيين، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين علي بن أبي طالب وصي رسول الله، السلام عليك يا فاطمة سيدتي نساء العالمين، السلام عليكما يا سبتي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة، السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين سيد العابدين وقرة عين الناظرين، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي الباقر المبعد النبي، السلام عليك يا جعفر بن محمد بن الصادق البار العمين، السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الطاهر الطهر، السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا المرتضى، السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي، السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد النقي الناصح العمين، السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي، السلام على الوصي من بعده، اللهم صل على نورك وسراجك وولي وليك ووصي وصيك وحجتك على خلقك، السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. السلام عليك يا بنت فاطمة وخديجة. السلام عليك يا بنت أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا بنت الحسن والحسين. السلام عليك يا بنت ولي الله. السلام عليك يا أخت ولي الله. السلام عليك يا عمة ولي الله. السلام عليك يا بنت موسى بن جعفر ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك عرف الله بيننا وبينكم في الجنة، وحشرنا في ذمرتكم، وأوردنا حوض نبيكم، وسقانا بكأس جدكم من يد علي بن أبي طالب صلوات الله عليكم. أسأل الله أن يرينا فيكم السرور والفرج، وأن يجمعنا وإياكم في زمرة جدكم محمد صلى الله عليه وآله، وأن لا يسلبنا معرفتكم، إنه ولي قدير. أتقرب إلى الله بحبكم والبراءة من أعدائكم، والتسليم إلى الله راضيا به غير منكر ولا مستكبر، وعلى يقين ما أتى به محمد وبه راض نطلب بذلك وجهك يا سيدي. اللهم ورضاك والدار الآخرة. يا فاطمة اشفعي لي في الجنة، فإنا لقي عند الله شأنا من الشأن. اللهم إني أسألك أن نختم لي بالسعادة، فلا تسلب مني ما أنا فيه، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. اللهم استجب لنا وتكبله بكرمك وعزتك وبرحمتك وعافيتك، وصلى الله على محمد وآله أجمعين وسلم تسليما يا أرحم الراحمين. السلام عليك يا مولاي محمد بن علي التقي الجواد. السلام عليك يا مولاي علي بن محمد الحادي النقي. السلام عليك يا مولاي حسن بن علي الزكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا سيدنا يا مولانا يا صاحب العصر والزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان والشر الشيطان. عجل الله تعالى فرجك، وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وزهورك. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة بن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Brothers and sisters, let us recite this ayah Karima for all the mu'mineen around the world who are in need of our du'as, who are ill, especially for Razi uncle, and also for the Zahur of Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman, bihaqqi bibi Fatima Ma'asuma. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. 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 برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة مع الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Jazakallah, brothers.
My sister, Surah Al-Fatiha for all of you marhumin, especially for the marhumin on the Jafaria Memorial Board. Al-Fatiha.
الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. Jazakallah, brother. that concludes the program tonight. Inshallah, we'll see you, Mu'min and Mu'minat, back on Thursday. Inshallah.